Rollins continued his tendency to accept any challenge to his World Heavyweight Championship on Monday Night Raw, defending against former champion Jinder Mahal in the night's main event. And yeah, there was also a lot more on the show, featuring the Judgment Day and 2 tag team clashes, as well as the return of the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. But we started things off, as advertised before the show, with Cody Rhodes, and WWE continued to present stories for fans to track in this year's Rumble, with Cody and Drew presenting the latest. Both men left the company and developed themselves as wrestlers and attractions before coming back to win the men's Rumble. McIntyre won the championship twice more than Rhodes, and he isn't content to watch the American Night Dream finish his story in the expense of others. Rhodes called out the Scot for his bitterness and asked him who won last year's match, and the Indie, leaving McIntyre speechless. It's a great segment that established background between them and kept alive the narrative that Rhodes was responsible for bringing Jey Uso to Raw, McIntyre suggesting he was simply keeping his enemies closer and giving another reason for fans to invest in the Royal Rumble. From a creative standpoint, there may not have been a single Rumble match with as many moving pieces as this since its inception, really. Before it was time for the first match, DIY versus the Judgment Day, Gargano and Ciampa moved closer to the shot of the tag team champions with a really good victory over Dom and JD. A good, well-paced match that saw the heels establish dominance before the babyfaces fought their way back into the bout on the strength of Ciampa's hot tag. After sending Mysterio to the floor, DIY flattened McDonough, scoring a hard-fought victory. The idea of Ciampa and Gargano challenging Priest and Balor for the tag titles is mightily appealing, especially if they benefited from considerable TV or PLE time, because I think this match really showed what they can do. I mean, obviously we've seen what they can do in their NXT days, and I've been really waiting for them to get a main roster push, and hopefully this is the beginning of it. It gets a 7 out of 10 from me. This was good stuff. Before it was time for Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Green and Niven, the women's tag division continues to suffer from poor TV time, as evidenced by this one, with Candice and Indy picking up the win in a sprint. The action was solid but a bit rushed, but the Lionheart finisher from LeRae's Green was a nice change of pace and gave the babyfaces an unexpected win, I would say. This win will likely intensify the issues between Green and Pierce and referee Eddie Arango. Nice to see the ref being played into the storyline, but yeah, where is it all going to go with the women's tag titles? That's the question. Probably not very far, unfortunately. The IC champion Gunther was then back on Raw after several weeks and immediately expressed his desire to win the men's Rumble match. From there, he applauded Ludwig Kaiser for bringing the intensity and aggression in his absence, including a vicious assault on Kofi a week ago. This brought out JV, who immediately challenged Kaiser to a match. The result was a physical contest with some great strikes and even better babyface fire from Woods, which led to a DQ after New Day man blasted Kaiser with the announcer's chair. The beatdown then ensued by the babyfaces, and the feud will undoubtedly continue. A backstage attack on Kaiser by Woods, interrupted by Jey Uso, planted the seeds for Uso to challenge Gunther, which would be a great match. Obviously the whole storyline with Kaiser and the New Day has really been working in a much more violent and brutal way than expected. So yeah, on the whole, this was really good. 6 out of 10 from me. Loved it. Moving on then to Tozawa against Ivar. Tozawa and Ivar wrote the latest chapter in their rivalry with a match on their Christmas week match. Despite being overwhelmed by Ivar's size and strength advantage, Tozawa benefited from a momentary distraction from Maxine Dupre and scored the win off a sunset flip powerbomb from the middle rope. After this match, Valhalla attacked Dupre and the heels stood tall to close things out. And bit of a shock victory, but I think the post-match stuff will probably move it all forward. Obviously Ivar wasn't defeated for long, and also could maybe set themselves up for a mixed tag match, who knows, with Dupree going at it with Valhalla, who knows. But yeah, I thought for what it was, it worked pretty well, and gets a 6 out of 10 from me. And just like that, we know the direction that Rhea Ripley will be taking forward for the world title, and it's not unexpected. Becky Lynch interrupted Mammy's promo in a shocking admission. She thinks Ripley is better than her. However, she has to prove this isn't the case by taking her title. To do so, she has to win the Women's Rumble. Ripley made an admission of her own. No one wants that to happen more than her. The intensity here was off the charts. The chemistry between these two jumped off the screen. It felt like start of a main event worthy feud, and a program that will ultimately lead to one of the most anticipated matches at WrestleMania. Is Lynch going to win the title? Maybe, but maybe Bayley has more momentum for the Rumble. And the storyline fits easy. Either way, Lynch v Ripley is a big money match, and hopefully one that can be on the show of shows, along with the likes of Rollins, Punk, Cody or The Rock versus Roman, etc. But moving on into another match, and that was the Awesome Truth versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor. The hijinks involving R-Truth and the Judgment Day continue, with the confusion surrounding the blood babyface status in the faction costing him and The Miz a match against the undisputed tag team champions. There's been no issues laying out JD McDonough. Truth appeared hesitant when facing Balor and Priest, and the momentary pause allowed the heels to put down The Miz for the win. The bigger story is how Priest appears to favour Truth. He likes the guy, and the building of friendship is ultimately just going to go down to the schism that breaks the Judgment Day as we know her. Could it be the long game with Priest and Truth versus Balor and Dom, or McDonough at WrestleMania? Don't rule it out. But Priest still holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, etc. It's an interesting little dynamic there. It's all going, but with the Judgment Day. But yeah, I love the babyfaces stuff. R-Truth is just so great. Makes me laugh every time. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Before it's time for Nox and Natalya versus Baszler and Stark. The women's tag division took centre stage for the second time on the show, with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark further solidifying themselves as genuine contenders to Chance and Carter's by way of victory over Nox and Natalya. The fun little sprint of the match could have benefited for a few more minutes, but it featured more compact action than the bout early in the broadcast. The outcome was never really in doubt, though. It's nice to see a change of pace, to see Natalya tap out to Baszler rather than Nox. The idea that Carter and Chance would have any shot at retaining against a physically superior badass team of Stark and Baszler is laughable, meaning Triple H and his creative team are going to have to flex those booking muscles to convince them otherwise. But yeah, I'd like to see Baszler and Stark get the titles, to be honest, have a lengthy run, because yeah, they're so great, and I think an extended run is what they deserve. But moving on into the world title match, Seth Rollins versus Jinder Mahal. For a moment it appeared Jinder Mahal might actually beat Seth Rollins and Flowers Max of 2017, and in fact the fans in Snowy Little Rock on the near falls and the testament to Triple H's booking of the match. It was all angled, the game through the book at the bout, creatively stacking screwy finishes on top of another to give you the impression that the unthinkable may happen again. The arrival of Priest followed by the presence of McIntyre and their brawl to set up the next week's main event. This was the incessant chasing of Indus Sher, including a spot right out of Mahal's first title victory over Randy Orton that had fans nervously counting along as Rollins raised his shoulder off at the mat in two. Ultimately the visionary overcame it all and delivered the stomp for the win, popping the crowd and bringing a satisfactory conclusion to a match that was a bit more dramatic than it had any right to be. To an end. Rollins sold this knee injury that had been problematic for last year on the show, but continuing the narrative as a fighting champion, even in his underdog against Jinder Mahal, worked really nicely. It gets a 7 out of 10 for me, a really good way to end the show. Overall, Raw this week gets a 7 out of 10 for me. A really good episode of Raw this week for me. Yeah, enjoyed the heavyweight title match in the main event. Some interesting storylines going out throughout the card as well. So yeah, on the whole, enjoyed it and gets a 7 out of 10 from me. A pretty good show leading to the guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.